Miracle African Tales. The Wicked Stepmom. Abuja had always been a city of wealth and power, where the rich and influential thrived in luxury. Among these elite families was the Adelics, a name that carried both prestige and admiration. Not only were they known for their wealth, but also for their kindness, generosity, and the deep love they shared as a family. Chief Olumide Adelic, a successful businessman, had built a fortune in real estate and oil investments. He was a man of integrity, respected by all, and despite his affluence, he remained humble. His wife, Ifeoma, was the very definition of grace and warmth. A beautiful woman with a heart of gold, she was deeply loved by many for her charitable works and her ability to make everyone feel at home in her presence. Their love was blessed with a single child, Amanda, a breathtakingly beautiful girl who was the apple of her father's eye and the pride of her mother. With long curly hair, bright intelligent eyes, and a personality that could melt even the coldest heart, Amanda was loved by all who met her. She was her parents' greatest joy, and in their home, love flowed like an endless river. The Adelics lived in a luxurious mansion in Ifeoma, one of Abuja's most expensive neighborhoods. Their home was a masterpiece, adorned with the finest furniture, chandeliers that sparkled like diamonds, and a garden that bloomed with the most beautiful flowers in the city. But beyond the wealth and grandeur, their home was filled with warmth, laughter, and genuine happiness. Every evening, after Chief Olumide returned from work, he would lift Amanda in his arms, twirling her around as she giggled. Ifeoma would watch them with a smile, her heart swelling with love. Dinners were always special in their home, a time for stories, jokes, and endless laughter. Even the household staff adored the family, as they were treated with kindness and respect. Life was perfect. But perfection, as the world knows, never lasts forever. One fateful afternoon, the sun hung lazily in the sky, casting golden hues over the Adelic's mansion. Amanda, now 8 years old, was playing in the garden while Ifeoma supervised, her usual warm smile brightening the atmosphere. Suddenly, she felt a sharp pain in her stomach. It wasn't the first time. For months, Ifeoma had been experiencing recurring pains, dizziness, and weakness, but she brushed them aside, blaming stress or fatigue. She didn't want to worry her family, especially not Amanda, who was so attached to her. But that day, the pain was unbearable. She clutched her stomach and staggered, her knees giving way. "Mommy!" Amanda screamed, running to her mother's side. The staff rushed out, and within minutes, Ifeoma was taken to the hospital. Chief Olumide arrived almost immediately, his heart pounding in his chest. As he paced the hospital corridor, his mind raced with worry. He refused to entertain any negative thoughts. Ifeoma was strong. She was his rock. She would be fine. But when the doctor finally emerged, his face bore a solemn expression. "Chief," he began, his voice gentle but firm. "We need to talk." The news hit like a dagger to the heart. Ifeoma had been diagnosed with late-stage stomach cancer. It had gone undetected for too long, and now, the chances of survival were slim. Chief Olumide felt his world shatter. "How long does she have?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. The doctor hesitated before answering, "With treatment, maybe a year. Without it, a few months." A few months. How could life be so cruel? Ifeoma fought with every ounce of strength she had. She endured chemotherapy, hospital visits, and excruciating pain, all while putting on a brave face for her family. Amanda was too young to fully understand the severity of her mother's illness, but she knew something was wrong. "Mommy, are you going to be okay?" she asked one evening, her big, innocent eyes filled with worry. Ifeoma smiled, brushing a strand of hair from Amanda's face. "Of course, my love. Mommy will always be here with you." But deep down, she knew she was losing the battle. Months passed, and Ifeoma's condition worsened. She grew weaker, her body frail, her once vibrant eyes dimming with pain. One cold morning, Amanda climbed into bed beside her mother, snuggling close. "Mommy, I love you," she whispered. Ifeoma fought back tears as she kissed her daughter's forehead. "I love you more, my princess." That night, Ifeoma took her last breath. Amanda woke up to find her mother cold and unresponsive. She shook her gently, then frantically. "Mommy, wake up. Please wake up." But Ifeoma was gone. The funeral was a grand affair. People from all over Abuja came to pay their respects. The mansion, once filled with laughter, was now silent. Chief Olumide was a broken man, and Amanda was inconsolable. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, but the pain never faded. The house felt empty without Ifeoma's presence. Amanda became withdrawn, her once bright laughter now a distant memory. She missed having a mother. She missed the bedtime stories, the warmth of her mother's embrace, the way she always knew exactly what to say. One evening, as she sat beside her father in his study, she looked up at him with pleading eyes. "Daddy," she whispered. "Yes, my princess. Can you get me a new mommy?" Chief Olumide's heart clenched. Amanda continued, "All my friends have moms. I don't want to be the only one without a mommy. Please, Daddy." Tears filled Olumide's eyes. He had never considered remarrying. Ifeoma was his soulmate, the love of his life. How could he replace her? But Amanda was lonely. And that was how the idea of a new wife, a new mother, was planted in his heart. He had no idea that this decision would change their lives forever. The idyllic mansion, once filled with warmth and laughter, had become a house of silence and longing. The absence of Ifeoma left a void so deep that neither time nor wealth could heal it. Chief Olumide did his best to mask his grief, throwing himself into work, but nothing could replace the love he had lost. For Amanda, life without her mother was unbearable. She missed her touch, her voice, her presence. No matter how much her father showered her with love, it was never the same. One evening, as they sat in the grand living room, Amanda curled up beside her father. She hesitated before speaking, her tiny voice breaking the silence. "Daddy." "Yes, my princess." She looked up at him, her eyes filled with longing. "I want a mommy." Olumide sighed, running his hand over his face. He had dreaded this conversation. "Amanda, my love, mommy is in heaven now." "I know," she whispered. "But I still want a mommy. A new one. Please." Olumide's heart clenched. He had never imagined remarrying. No woman could ever replace Ifeoma. But looking at his daughter's sorrowful face, he knew he couldn't ignore her pain. "I'll think about it," he finally said. But Amanda had already made up her mind. Days passed, and Amanda kept bringing up the topic of finding a new mother. One afternoon, as she sat on her father's lap, she suddenly brightened up. "Daddy, I know who should be my mommy," she announced excitedly. Olumide raised an eyebrow. "Oh. And who is that?" She grinned. "Auntie Grace." He frowned, trying to recall the name. "Auntie Grace." "Yes. Mommy's junior staff, the one who used to come and help cook when I was little. She was always so nice to me. She would carry me on her back and sing to me. She should be my new mommy." Olumide stiffened. Grace. He remembered her now, a quiet, respectful woman who had worked under Ifeoma as an assistant in a catering business. She had been dedicated, hardworking, and always kind to Amanda. But the idea of marrying her, it was absurd. "Amanda, Grace is just a staff member. I can't." "But she loves me," Amanda interrupted. "And I love her. I don't want any other mommy." Olumide sighed. He didn't want to disappoint his daughter, but he wasn't ready to consider such a thing. "Let's not rush, okay? I'll think about it." But Amanda was relentless. Determined to grant his daughter's wish, Olimide decided to introduce her to a woman he thought would make a great mother, Victoria, a wealthy, well-educated woman from a respected family. The day Victoria visited, Amanda was polite but distant. She sat quietly, watching her with scrutinizing eyes. After dinner, when Victoria left, Olimide turned to his daughter with a hopeful smile. "So, what do you think?" Amanda frowned. "She's not my mommy." "Amanda." "No. I don't like her. I want Auntie Grace." Olimide sighed in frustration. "Princess, you can't just choose a mother like picking a toy." Tears welled up in Amanda's eyes. "But I want her, Daddy. Please." Each day, Amanda pleaded. Each day, she reminded him of how much she loved Auntie Grace. Eventually, Olimide gave in, not to the idea of marriage, but to allow Grace to start coming around to help. And so, the door was opened. The first day Grace walked into the idyllic mansion again, she did so with a gentle smile and a modest demeanor. She still carried the same warmth from years ago, and Amanda ran into her arms, excitedly hugging her. Grace played her role perfectly. She cooked, cleaned, and cared for Amanda like the perfect mother figure. She was patient, kind, and always full of praises for Chief Olimide. The bond between Amanda and Grace grew stronger, and even Olimide couldn't deny how good she was with his daughter. Slowly, he let his guard down, allowing himself to see her as more than just an old staff member. One evening, as he watched Grace laughing with Amanda, something inside him shifted. Maybe, just maybe, she was the right one after all. Chapter 5: The Proposal. It took months before Olimide finally admitted his feelings. Grace had become a part of their lives in a way no other woman had. One evening, after dinner, he sat with her in the garden. "Grace," he said softly. "Yes, sir." He hesitated before speaking. "I want to ask you something important." She looked at him expectantly. "I want you to be my wife." For a moment, she was silent. Then, with a shy smile, she nodded. "Yes, Chief. I will marry you." Amanda was overjoyed. "I finally have a mommy," she squealed. Olimide felt at peace. He believed he had made the right decision. But he had no idea what was coming. The wedding was beautiful, grand, and attended by the elite of Abuja. But behind Grace's soft smiles and gentle words lay a heart filled with darkness. It began subtly. At first, she would ignore Amanda when no one was watching. Then, she would dismiss her questions with sharp words. As the weeks passed, the changes became more evident. "Amanda, why did you leave your toys on the floor? Are you an animal?" "But mommy, I..." "Shut up. I don't want to hear excuses." The once loving woman was now cold, strict, and dismissive. Then, the punishments began. If Amanda spilled something, she would be forced to stand outside for hours. If she cried, Grace would grab her roughly by the arm and whisper, "Your father loves you too much, but that will change soon." Amanda didn't understand why her new mother, whom she had once adored, now seemed to hate her. And the more Olimide doted on Amanda, the worse it became. Grace hated how much Olimide loved Amanda. Every hug, every kiss, every word of affection he gave his daughter made her boil with rage. One evening, as Olimide sat on the couch with Amanda curled up beside him, Grace watched from the shadows, her hands clenched into fists. "Princess, what would you like for your birthday?" Olimide asked. Amanda smiled. "A big cake and a teddy bear." Grace's eyes darkened. Spoiled brat. Later that night, when Olimide was asleep, she entered Amanda's room and yanked the blanket off her. "You think you're special, don't you?" she hissed. Amanda sat up, confused and scared. Mommy. I am not your mother, Grace spat. You're nothing. And soon, your father will see that too. Tears welled up in Amanda's eyes. But I love you. Grace smacked. I don't care. The torment had only just begun. Amanda learned quickly, her stepmother was two people in one. To the world and to her father, Grace was the perfect wife and mother. She was gentle, caring, and devoted. She cooked delicious meals, spoke softly, and made sure the home ran smoothly. But when they were alone, she became someone else entirely. Amanda lived in constant fear. She was no longer the joyful child she used to be. She was careful with her every move, afraid that the slightest mistake would bring Grace's wrath. Look at your useless hands, Grace hissed one evening after Amanda accidentally spilled a glass of milk. Can't you do anything right? I'm sorry, Mommy, Amanda whispered, her voice shaking. Grace grabbed her by the arm and squeezed tightly. Don't call me that. I am not your mother. Tears welled in Amanda's eyes, but she knew better than to cry. Crying only made things worse. She wished she could run to her father, tell him everything. But Grace had warned her. If you tell your father, she had whispered into Amanda's ear one night, I will make sure he sends you far away. He won't love you anymore. Amanda believed her. So she said nothing. To Olumide, Grace was everything he had hoped for in a wife. She was affectionate, always putting Amanda first. She's my baby, she would say, stroking Amanda's hair when Olumide was watching. I love her so much. He would smile, relieved. Amanda would sit still, forcing herself to nod when Grace gave her a warning glance. When Olumide was home, Grace would shower Amanda with kisses and tell stories about how much fun they had when he wasn't around. But when he left, the nightmare returned. One evening, after a family dinner, Olumide took Amanda into his study to help her with schoolwork. You're doing so well, princess, he said, smiling at her neat handwriting. I'm proud of you. Amanda's heart swelled with happiness. It had been so long since she had felt safe. That night, as she was about to sleep, Grace entered her room, her eyes dark. So you think you're special, don't you? She sneered. Amanda clutched her blanket. Grace grabbed her chin roughly. You think your father will always love you? Just wait. Soon, you'll be nothing to him. Amanda didn't understand. She just wanted to be loved. Months passed, and then the news came, Grace was pregnant. Olumide was overjoyed. He threw a lavish celebration, inviting family and friends to share the happiness. Amanda, however, felt something shift. Grace was different now. More cruel. More dangerous. I don't need you anymore, she whispered to Amanda one night, her hand resting on her belly. Soon, I'll have my own child. And when that happens, you'll wish you were never born. Amanda shivered. She didn't know what that meant, but she knew one thing, her suffering was about to get worse. This is just the beginning of the true nightmare Amanda will endure. As Grace's pregnancy progresses, so will her hatred, manipulation, and sinister plans. The tension will rise, and Amanda's silent suffering will deepen. Watch out for part 2, please share this video, subscribe to my YouTube channel and click on the notification button lovelies as part 2 is dropping soon.